We begin with the haze situation in Sarawak. Air quality in border district SERIAN is nearing the very unhealthy threshold, recording the state's highest API readings of 189 as of 7 p.m. Department of Environment data shows 10 other monitoring stations across the state have also breached unhealthy levels. Semarahan and Kuching recorded high readings of 168 and 167 respectively, followed closely by Bintulu, Sarikei and Sri Aman. Other affected areas include Sibu, Samalaju, Muka and Miri, with readings ranging between 110 and 155. Sarawak United People's Party SUPP Youth Central Vice Chairman Kelvin He warns that the rights and position of Sarawak and Sabah must not be disregarded in future federal government formations. His comment follows a recent Ilham Centre pollster assessment showing that the Barisan Nasional and Perikatan Nasional coalition can potentially form a government with 122 parliamentary seats without East Malaysian support. He reiterates calls for Borneo states to hold at least 35% of parliamentary seats to prevent constitutional amendments from being decided solely by peninsular representatives. He stresses that Sarawak and Sabah currently hold only 56 of the 222 seats in parliament, representing approximately 25% of the total representation. He notes that seats vacated by Singapore in 1965 were never redistributed to East Malaysia as intended under the MA63. He cautions that any new federal alliance must never leave Bornean states out of the equation. He also highlights that the Sarawak Premier repeatedly advocates for restoring the 35% threshold to serve as an effective constitutional check and balance. He adds that while Sarawak's Legislative Assembly approved increasing its seat from 82 to 99 last year, the matter remains in limbo with the Election Commission. According to he, restoring this parliamentary ratio goes beyond political seat numbers. He warns that dominance by peninsular-based parties risks eroding Borneo influence over federal decisions and unfair policies. He therefore appeals to local voters to stand together at the polls to ensure a strong regional advocacy. On to the next update. Air Borneo is now offering higher education students a digital voucher worth 400 ringgit to subsidize domestic economy flight tickets. The initiative is part of Fly Siswa, a government-backed air travel subsidy program spearheaded by the Transport Ministry to support students travelling between Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah, Sarawak and Labuan. In a statement today, Air Borneo says the initiative aims to ease financial burdens for students attending public universities, polytechnics, community colleges, matriculation colleges, and teacher education institutes. It enables eligible students to plan trips home during semester breaks, festive seasons, or emergencies without the strain of high travel costs. Malaysian students enrolled in public higher education institutions can check their eligibility via the Transport Ministry's official portal to redeem vouchers directly when booking through Air Borneo's website or mobile application. The voucher redemption period for Air Borneo flights runs from August 11th until November 30th, with bookings valid for travel dates up to December 31st. A 78-year-old woman tragically perished after a crocodile snatched her from a boat while gathering river snails in Batunia. Police and fire authorities identified the victim as Sambai Anga, who succumbed to fatal injuries sustained in a tributary near Suai Bridge. Sarawak Fire and Rescue officers confirmed the victim was sitting in a boat when the reptile struck without warning. Her 31-year-old daughter, who stood in the river just a meter away, witnessed the crocodile drag her mother 10 meters into open water. Local residents acted quickly, surrounding the predator and forcing it to release the victim. Villagers retrieved the body from the water and transported her to a nearby jetty. Rescuers from the Batunia fire station secured the incident site before handing the body over to police for further investigation and post-mortem procedures. Police cracked down on an international drug syndicate masterminded by foreign nationals, foiling an attempt to smuggle 21.62 million ringgit worth of cannabis out of Malaysia. Bukit Aman Narcotics Chief Dato' Hussein Omar Khan confirms officers seized over 270 kilograms of drugs across 3 states, rescuing 4 foreign drug mules in the process.
Mana Ops Lejo Gaster ni yang dianggap dilancarkan pada 12 Julai 2026 hingga 3 Ogos 2026, hasil risikan dan pemantauan berterusan JIJN Bukit Aman dalam membongkar rangkaian sindiket pengedaran dadah jenis bunga ganja yang beroperasi untuk pasaran antarabangsa. Hasil risikan dan tindakan yang dijalankan ini, JIJN Bukit Aman berjaya menangkap seramai 9 orang suspek terdiri daripada 1 warga negara tempatan dan 8 lelaki warga negara asing berumur antara 22 hingga 51 tahun menerusi 3 serbuan berasingan di Pulau Pinang, Selangor dan juga Negeri Sembilan.
Police also seized assets worth 117,000 ringgit. Investigators reveal the syndicate smuggled cannabis from a neighboring country, stashing it near airports in Bayan Lepas and Nilai before overseas distribution. All 9 suspects face investigation under Section 39B of the Dangerous Drugs Act of 1952, which carries the death penalty or life imprisonment with mandatory caning. A 16-month-old baby girl in Kota Tinggi died from fatal blunt force trauma after suffering suspected abuse at the hands of her step-grandmother. Johor Police Chief Dato' Rahman Arsad confirms the case is now classified as murder, with 3 family members arrested in connection with the death.
Police initially received a report on July 31st from the step-grandmother claiming the toddler was unresponsive at her home in Taman Sri Saujana. Investigators revealed that the victim was placed under the care of her step-grandparents while her young mother was away.
Datuk dengan nenek dia tu dengan bayi satu rumah. Tapi ibunya dia masih lagi belajar sebenarnya, umur 18 tahun. Anak tak sah taraf. Sekolah vocational di salah satu tempat di negeri Johor.
Medical personnel pronounced the baby dead at the scene, but an autopsy later revealed internal injuries from blunt force impact. Police promptly reclassified the case from child abuse to murder under Section 302 of the Penal Code. Investigators have completed the investigation paper and referred the file to the State Prosecution Office for further action.
Prime Minister Dato' Sri Anwar Ibrahim is currently in recovery after successfully undergoing an elective laparoscopic surgery to treat an abdominal hernia. The head of his medical team, Dr. Azri Rangga Abdullah Ramayah, confirms that the procedure went smoothly and that the Prime Minister is under specialist observation. Dr. Azri says Anwar is currently undergoing physiotherapy as part of his recovery, monitoring to ensure optimal progress. This follows an initial official statement issued by the Prime Minister's office confirming he has entered the hospital for prescribed medical procedures and is expected to remain under observation for at least 2 days. Anwar, who turned 79 on Monday and has been in office since 2022, has a medical history of recurrent shoulder and back issues. Pressure to declare high dividend payouts is allegedly driving Lembaga Tabung Haji or TH to make several risky investments, which eventually resulted in losses amounting to billions of ringgit. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department for Religious Affairs, Dr. Zulkifli Hasan says findings by the Royal Commission of Inquiry RCI identify 14 problematic investments. Among those highlighted are the leases of 4 hotels in Mecca and Medina in 2015, 2016 and 2017 through Saudi Arabia's based property developer and management firm Al Rawda Real Estates Development and Project Management Co Limited.
Tabung Haji telah memajak 4 hotel di Mekah dan Madinah dan telah membayar kira-kira 1.55 bilion ringgit secara upfront kepada Al-Radha bagi pajakan selama 10 hingga 18 tahun. 1.55 bilion secara upfront. Ini adalah satu transaksi yang luar biasa, tidak normal.
The RCI also found that Tabung Haji's financial reporting in 2017 did not reflect the institution's true financial position, including changes to accounting policies that resulted in a reported profit, when the actual position should show a loss. According to Zulkifli, the RCI findings give the impression that pressure to show profits and pay high dividends influenced some of Tabung Haji's investment decisions at the time.
Still on the same development, Prime Minister Datuk Seri Anwar Ibrahim has criticised the opposition for walking out the Dewan Rakyat during Monday's special sitting, accusing them of trying to divert attention from issues involving Lembaga Tabung Haji by turning him into the focus of political polemics. He says the focus should instead be those he described as traitors to Tabung Haji and the interests of its depositors, rather than making him the target of political debate.
On a Facebook post, Anwar stressed that the Tabung Haji issue involves the interests of Muslims, particularly depositors who save with the fund to fulfill the fifth pillar of Islam. Earlier, opposition members walked out of Dewan Rakyat after Speaker Tan Sri Johari Abdul decided that the briefing session would continue without Anwar, who was resting due to health reasons. Johari later allowed the opposition members to leave the chamber while the special sitting continued according to the set procedure. Earlier, Perikatan Nasional Chief Whip Datuk Seri Taqiyuddin Hassan said Anwar's presence was important to ensure a comprehensive explanation of the Tabung Haji RCI report, particularly as the special sitting was held on the Prime Minister's instruction.
More details have emerged on Iran's Supreme Leader Mojtaba Ali Khamenei's current health conditions. Relevant parties say he is in good health. On the opposing side, US President Donald Trump says striking Iran is still an alternative decision if a peace deal cannot be reached between them. More on this with Ratzi Ahmad.
Thanks, Andy. Yesterday, speculations on Mojtaba's health was highly debated online, citing deteriorating health. To counter these claims, Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian said that the Iran Supreme Leader is in perfect health after meeting him earlier today. They had a 7-hour meeting discussing livelihoods, economy, employment, and sanctions, among others.
همه مشکلات رو گفتیم، دغدغه‌هامون رو گفتیم. از نظر سلامت کاملا سالم بودن، یعنی کسی که میتونه بشینه اونجا 7 ساعت 8 ساعت با ما بحث بکنه نمیتونه آدم مشکل داری باشه. خیلی راحت حرفای ما رو گوش میداد، بحث میکرد، حرفای خودشون رو میفرمودن.
Moreover, Pezeshkian says one of the more urgent problems needing immediate attention is the current U.S. sanctions against the country that has affected the livelihood of its people. Iranians are now claiming to be professionals in a game of chess with the U.S. as they navigate through strikes and economic pressures. Previously, Trump signaled he was prepared to let economic pressure mount against Iran, apparently backing away from more military strikes after Tehran issued a list of demands for opening the Strait of Hormuz. But Iran saw right through this strategy, according to Foreign Ministry spokesman Ismail Bakai.
ایرانیان نشون دادن که شطرنج بازان حرفه‌ای هستند. کشورهای منطقه نمیتوانند همچون گذشته متکی باشند به ادعای تأمین امنیت از سوی آمریکا. در نظر داشته باشید ما کماکان در جنگ هستیم. مادامی که محاصره دریایی آمریکا ادامه داشته باشه طبق قطعنامه 3314 مجمع عمومی سازمان ملل متحد، محاصره دریایی از این جنس به مثابه عمل تجاوزکارانه است. مادامی که سایر نقض‌های آمریکا تداوم داشته باشه، خب شرایط لازم برای این که بگیم تنگه هرمز تبدیل به یک آبراه امن شده وجود نخواهد داشت.
Now, let's look into what Trump has said today. Earlier, he declined to respond to inquiries on what would come next in talks with Iran, but indicated that the U.S. retains the ability to pursue a major military escalation. At the White House, he told reporters, quote, "You'll find out." He will also ask Iran for reparations due to the damage Iran has inflicted to the U.S. over a 50-year period. But Trump did not specify what those damages were. And when asked about the status of the Strait of Hormuz, he said it was open for all, leaving question marks for such unrealistic remarks. At the same time, Trump's administration has extended a limited waiver of the Jones Act for another 90 days to support domestic fuel supplies amid disruptions caused by the Iran war, according to a White House spokesperson. The extension allows foreign-flagged vessels to transport certain energy resources between U.S. ports, easing restrictions imposed under the century-old shipping law. Now, under the previous blanket waiver, the new extension will be applied on a voyage-by-voyage basis. The Pentagon will consult the U.S. Maritime Administration to determine whether individual shipments qualify. The waiver was extended to ensure that the U.S. military and key industries maintain uninterrupted access to critical resources. The latest extension is expected to remain in effect until mid-November. Trump initially issued a 60-day waiver on March 17th before extending it for another 90 days in May. Elsewhere, former president of Syria Bashar al-Assad was sentenced to death by criminal court in Damascus. Judge Al-Aryan of the 4th Criminal Court in Damascus said witness testimony established Assad's role in the crimes as the highest decision maker and that he had used state institutions to facilitate their commission. The court convicted Assad of premeditated murder of multiple victims, including children, torture, arbitrary detention, and crimes against humanity, and sentenced him to death in absentia.
وبجناية التعذيب والتعذيب المفضي إلى الموت وجناية الحرمان من الحرية لمرات متعددة بوصفها جرائم ضد الإنسانية وجرائم حرب والحكم عليه من أجل ذلك بالإعدام.
Additionally, the court also sentenced Atif Najib, an official during Assad's era, for crimes against humanity committed when he was head of the political secretary in Daraa province, the cradle of the country's 2011 uprising. Now, those were some of the updates we have from West Asia. More on TV Sarawak and TVS Inspire. Back to Handy for more on world news.
Right, thanks, Radzi. More than 40 French departments were placed under an orange heat alert for Tuesday as the country braces for its 5th heat wave since June. France's National Weather Service Meteo France placed 43 departments under an orange heat alert, with maximum temperatures expected to reach 35 degrees Celsius to 37 degrees Celsius. The heat is expected to intensify further Wednesday, with maximum temperatures forecast to reach 36 degrees Celsius to 39 degrees Celsius, while 67 departments are set to be placed under an orange alert. Temperatures are forecast to remain high Thursday and Friday, reaching 35 degrees Celsius to 39 degrees Celsius across most regions and locally climbing to 40 degrees Celsius. The heat waves have left French cities and autumnal appearance well before the season, as repeated heat waves take a growing toll on urban vegetation. Marc-André Selosius, a biologist and professor at the National Museum of Natural History, says plants are under high stress, especially those in urban areas where the soils are sealed, causing water reserves to be much lower. The prolonged heat wave, he adds, has accelerated the deterioration of plants in various parts in France.
Donc la répétition des canicules et aussi le fait qu'elles sont plus prononcées, c'est-à-dire à la fois plus sèches quand la saison avance et plus fortes en température, parce qu'il y a aussi ça cette année, c'était vraiment quand même assez fort. Ben ça commence à vraiment affaiblir la végétation. Et finalement, ça peut conduire des populations entières à disparaître, d'animaux ou de plantes, et c'est une des raisons pour lesquelles le changement climatique, c'est 14% des disparitions d'espèces.
As France experiences its 5th heat wave since June, water levels are also continuing to fall amid persistent drought conditions. An aquatic ecology expert recently states that more rocks are visible than water in the rivers. All rivers in France are at extremely low levels, the expert adds, so low that there is not enough water to ensure river navigation. Indonesia has mobilized extra personnel and aircraft as raging forest and land fires engulf over 107,000 hectares across the country, with West Kalimantan, which borders Sarawak, recording the largest affected area at nearly 27,000 hectares. Authorities are ramping up containment efforts to prevent cross-border haze. Our correspondent David Andres is live in Jakarta with the details.
Thank you, Hendin Kuching. Good evening. I'm David Andreas, reporting on more than 107,000 hectares of forest and land affected by fires in Indonesia. On Monday, several ministry and government agencies in Indonesia held a special meeting to discuss the worsening forest and land fires, or Karhutla, which have now affected more than 107,000 hectares of land across the country. The meeting was led by Indonesia Coordinating Minister for Political and Security Affairs, Jamari Caniago, as authorities step up effort to contain the fires and prevent the situation from developing into a wider cross-border haze problem. At least 6 provinces are currently being close monitored as critical areas, namely West Kalimantan, Central Kalimantan, South Kalimantan, Riau, Jambi, and South Sumatra. West Kalimantan, which borders with Sarawak, has recorded the largest area affected by fires at nearly 27,000 hectares. The Indonesia government is now developing additional personnel, equipment, and aircraft to strengthen firefighting operation, particularly in areas where the fires continue to spread. Jamari said Indonesia is also aware of concern over the possibility of haze crossing its border and affecting neighboring countries, particularly Malaysia and Singapore. However, authorities say that as of today, there has been a significant cross-border haze reported. For the area operation, around 43 helicopters have been deployed, supported by 15 fixed-wing aircraft, depending on operational requirements. A large number of personnel and firefighting equipment have also been mobilized on the ground. The cloudseeding remains one of the key measures being considered to help generate rainfall and suppress the fires. However, its implementation depends heavily on the availability of suitable cloud formation. According to the latest weather forecast, formation could develop over the next 3 to 4 days, potentially bringing rain until around 18 August. The Indonesian government says the priority now is not only to put out the fires, but also to protect the environment, public health, and importantly, prevent the situation from affecting neighboring countries. From Jakarta, Indonesia, David Andreas for TVS.
Standing on a ferry waiting to dock on the Greek island of Ithaca, Georgia Ongarato is only too happy to talk about The Odyssey, the epic poem that has now inspired Christopher Nolan's blockbuster film. The Italian lawyer says visiting Ithaca has long been a dream drawn by the island's enduring association with Odysseus, the hero of Homer's epic and widely believed its legendary home. We leave you with this story as we wrap up the Nightline. I'm Handy Gui. Thanks for watching. Wearing a t-shirt emblazoned with the word Odyssey in ancient Greek alongside a line from the poem, Ongarato shows just how deeply the story has captured her imagination. For the 50-year-old, the journey to Ithaca was a dream long before Nolan's film brought the ancient epic back into the spotlight.
It was my dream to go to Ithaca, and I studied Greek when I was a child, and I studied the Odyssey. I like Odysseus.
And now, Ithaca's businesses and officials are hoping that same fascination with Odysseus will translate into a new wave of visitors. The island lies in the Ionian Sea off the west coast of mainland Greece, far from the country's main tourist hubs. Ithaca has never been a major tourist stop, something local officials hope the film can begin to change. But so far, there has been no immediate surge in arrivals.
We expect that this will start happening from next year. As the film is gradually released around the world, as more people see it, they will begin planning trips to visit the island.
The wait may be worth it for an island that already offers the kind of landscape that has long filled this mythic reputation. Its rugged interior is carpeted with olive and cypress trees, while quiet coasts and clear waters offer a striking contrast to the crowds of Greece's busier tourist destinations. But there is one irony at the heart of Ithaca's new Hollywood moment. None of the blockbuster scenes were actually filmed here.
We had reached out to the production team and asked that some scenes be filmed here on the island and include them in the movie. Unfortunately, that wasn't feasible. Even so, the film still provides tremendous publicity for the island.
And for local experts, the potential payoff goes beyond a busier summer. Philologist and archaeologist Spyros Kouvaras expects the film could bring visitors during the quieter months too.
We expect a remarkable increase in visitors, and we can say that it will also affect the months that are usually dead. That is October, maybe even November, or March, April, which are usually quiet months in Ithaca. I would say that the driving force behind this is, first and foremost, is Nolan's film. But behind Nolan's film stands Homer.
And that distinction between the new film and the much older legend that inspired it is central to how locals see Ithaca's tourism appeal. For souvenir shop owner Ionia Grivia, the island's connection to Odysseus and Homer remains its biggest draw. People come because they know the legend of Odysseus and Homer, who wrote the Odyssey. I think that's the main reason, but it's also a very beautiful little island. For centuries, Ithaca has lived in the shadow of a hero whose journey home became one of the world's most enduring stories. Now, as Nolan's film introduces that story to a new generation, the island is hoping Odysseus can once again lead travelers to its shores.